What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. With Nightwave being a thing, some of the bosses like the Prophet Taker and the Eidolons come up from time to time as one of the Nightwave challenges. The only one that hasn't come up so far this season is the Ropalolyst, here on out called the Roly-Poly because quite frankly it's easier to say. Looking at my old guide to this though, there's a fair bit that's changed, some bugs that got fixed and some strats that don't really work anymore, so let's update that quickly. You're going to find the Roly-Poly, it's on its own node on Jupiter, and you can access that after completing the Chimera prologue. The actual mission itself has a ton of lore that you have to listen to every single time you do a node. However, if you've never fought this thing before, take the time, do the mission slowly, take in the lore and listen to the story. I would say that it is worth it. However, once you get to the fight, in all honesty, it's not particularly difficult to do. And honestly, I find it a lot easier solo, because you can manipulate the behaviour a lot easier than you can in a group. You have 3 towers around the edge of the platform with cables running to them. You have to destroy each of these 3 towers before you can finish off the boss. So how do we do it? Head across the wire to the towers, avoiding the electrified wave that the Roly-Poly is going to send along the wire. Once you're across, position your frame behind the tower and go into operator mode. The Roly-Poly is going to try and shoot the frame, and it's going to charge the tower at the same time. If you've got an amp with the long-range fire mode like mine does, move slightly out, just in such a way that you can't get hit by the boss, and strip down the boss's shield with your amp. Once those shields are down, hop back into your frame, wait for the boss to stop doing their attack, bullet jump over it, spam X to mount the thing. Once you've got control of the boss, slam its face right into the tower to destroy it and move on to the next phase of the fight. Next phase is on the central platform. The boss is now on the ground with a few amalgams around. Try to shoot one of the 2 things on its back to knock it down and stun it. Run over to the glowing panel, press the button and zap it with a giant laser. Rinse and repeat 2 more times basically. On the 3rd time you don't need to shoot anything specific, no weak spots. Just shoot the boss itself to stun it, and zap it with a laser. Then it's a case of getting to the extract, and that's it, job done. There's a couple of things to note here. In the past you could use abilities and the operator mode to skip across the wires without touching them. That's not the case anymore. The actual Roly-Poly has an attack that will disable all movement-based abilities. There are 2 exceptions to this though. If you've got high duration Zephyr, you can go from the central platform all the way to the tower in 1 flight. Or if you're using Ivara to cast her zipline from the centre of the arena to the tower, although quite frankly you may as well use the cables at that stage. Other than that, you're basically forced to use the cables now. I would choose a frame personally with either invulnerability, like you see me using Revenant here, or just something is hugely tanky for this, because the boss does hit like a truck. It's got a few main attacks. First one is its hand lasers. It's a fairly obvious attack. It's very easy to see because they have a beam coming from them, and as such it is pretty easy to avoid them. But if you do get hit by them, they do a ton of damage. It's also got a grab attack when it's in its ground phase. Again, does a ton of damage if you don't know how to get out of it. Basically, once you get grabbed, go into your operator, wait for him to release your frame. It's the only real way to get out of it. It's pretty easy not to get grabbed though, just don't go underneath it. It's basically the only time you're going to ever get grabbed is going straight underneath. Stay at range and you are good. He also has a micro missile attack where he fires out like a ton of little missiles that home in on you. Keep moving around, they're unlikely to hit you, but if you stay still, they are going to ruin your day pretty quickly. From a weapon perspective, I would bring an amp with a long range mode. I've got a 477, which is brilliant for this fight, but honestly, anything with a long range attack is good for this. As for shooting the weak spots on the back, splash damage doesn't seem to hit the weak spots, so AoE weapons aren't as good as they should be. However, the catch moon that I'm using here in the footage is pretty much the best option for hitting the spots really easily. But honestly, they don't have a huge amount of HP, so any decently modded weapon is going to do the job fine. You know, your snipers, things like that. Aside from that, it's not the most difficult boss, but I find it a fairly enjoyable one personally. I hope this updated guide helps you to take this thing down that much easier. It's not the most obvious fight to try and figure out how to do it, but once you get the strats down, it is a very easy fight, and one you can do very, very easily. Going to end the video here. I'm going to put a completely unedited run up just to show you how it goes if you get an almost flawless run. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall catch you in the next one.
Lightly made by the creators, I became a memory, a ghost. Reprogrammed to destroy my family, my people, my history. But now I am saved by family. Together, we will overcome the flaws of our light, the gods of our creation, merging with them like steel, bearing amalgams with the weakness of neither. Your great power, your great evil, the voice, the void within you. Our ancients still wither at its touch. But have you forgotten, Lua?
Aim true, betrayer. You've got it on the ground now. Hit it down. Set it up. Incredible. Take that big shot before it takes...
Rise, ancient Ropalolyst, my other flesh. Your sacrifice will breed a new way, for a new kind. Ropalolyst, rise, remain, and die for the others to live.
Yes, make that thing sizzle. Yes, this is it, betrayers. Rid me of this thing, and I will be grateful for at least a few days.
So it is. So you have done, time and again, eradicating my people, my history. So it will be with yours, child.